If you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones Mockingbird episode, stop listening now. Major spoilers. Here we go. Tyrion gains an unlikely ally. Daario asks Dany to allow him to do what he does best. That's where we're actually going to start at right now. This is part 2 of the podcast for tonight's Game of Thrones episode. Khaleesi, man, she arrives inside of her private quarters, man, to see Daario in her chambers trying to put his player status on, man. He's trying to pimp her. He's trying to, like, you know, pretty much just get in her draws, man. And he's successful. He literally lays down the sword and the hammer upon, you know what I'm saying, the mother of dragons. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening, man. Like, she literally let her guard down. Now, check this out. Here's what I love about the mother of dragons. I think she did this on purpose, okay? Because obviously she knows that, you know, Daario cannot be trusted. And in order to, I guess, make him do what he, you know, that she wants him to do. And because, you know, obviously he has, you know, pretty much 2 things that he does on Earth, and that is fight and then women. Those are the 2 things he kind of loves, and he can't do it, you know, locked inside of Marin. And now she takes, you know, pretty much takes his V card, man, and then after that flips it and then makes him take an army, a little small army over to Yunkai and go in, I guess, take that place back over, I guess you will, if you will, okay? And then Jorah, he comes up in the morning, okay? You see Daario come out of her chambers, out of Khaleesi's chambers. He has his shirt undone. Jorah comes up and he's like, he looks at her, he looks at Daario, and then Daario looks at Jorah, and you're like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, Khaleesi's inside of her room, and you know, she's feeling mighty well. She's feeling really good. And then after that, Jorah comes in and he's like, Khaleesi, what are you doing? You know, why did you do this with Daario? And et cetera, et cetera. This is what she says, man. She says, I don't trust him, but I need him to do what I need him to do, and everything's going to be all right, you know. And then she says, for the first time, what's kind of cool is that Khaleesi actually listened to her guard, man. You know, I love this, man. That's why I say, you know, the character growth and development is so amazing, you know, and they showed that tonight. She actually listened, and then she says, because at first, this is what she says. She says, they can live, and when I say they, meaning the slave masters, the slave owners, they can live in my new world, or they can die in their old world. And he was kind of explaining to her that, you know, you don't have to always rule with such malice. You can actually rule with a little bit of love and kindness, I guess you can say, because the people that you rule over, the slaves, the former slaves, the Unsullied, that's all they knew was just violence. Now you need to show them something different. And she actually listened to him, man. And she's going to use from last week's episode, that young boy or young man that had his father killed, that Khaleesi actually killed his father, and then she was kind of hearing all those people give their griefs and stuff, and hearing her community. She's actually gonna let him go and go to Yunkai with Daario and actually kind of give them a little proposition, man. Something that they probably literally cannot refuse. They'll probably say yeah, and then after that things will kind of change a little bit. And she made sure that whenever Jorah went and talked to Daario, that she said to tell Daario that you changed my mind, you know, that Jorah actually changed Khaleesi's mind. And I actually absolutely love that, man. That was pretty much it as far as Khaleesi goes. The episode tonight was more emphasis on Tyrion, emphasis on Lady Sansa, the Hound, stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and head into that right now. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Arya and the Hound, man. Now check this out, man. I had no clue because I think the guy that plays the Hound's brother, Sir Gregor, he looks so different in tonight's episode, so I didn't recognize him at first, but he's back. Okay, now. Well, I'll go right through that. Okay, so you have Tyrion and Jaime. They're talking down inside of the cellar about the blowback of what Tyrion decided to do to his father last week. Okay, and there's nothing that Jaime can do to save Tyrion. Now, what's kind of cool, man, is that Tyrion actually sent Jaime to go and fetch Bronn. Now, once Bronn came and actually meets up with Tyrion inside of the dungeon, everything kind of changes. Bronn is no longer the selfless guy. He has a conscience, and he said, I like you, I just like myself a little bit more, so I'm not going to fight for you. Okay, now Sir Gregor, the Hound's brother, is huge, man. He's like 8 foot, and he just kills people for fun. They actually show you this scene where Cersei is walking up when Sir Gregor actually arrives into the town and stuff, and he's just literally murdering thousands of little innocent civilians, man. They're just poor people, and he's just massacring them, cutting them in half with one slice. It's really something spectacular, I guess you can see, because it's such a spectacle, because he's so huge. He's gigantic. There's nothing to really stop him. Now, that's a good transitional point, because whenever we see Prince Oberyn inside of this episode, he goes down to see Tyrion inside of the dungeon, because now we know that Bronn won't fight for Tyrion, and Prince Oberyn goes down there and he gives this kind of story. He says that, first off, Tyrion and Prince Oberyn have actually met before. They met back in the day, the first time that Prince Oberyn left Dorne, and they took a trip over to Castle Rock. When they met, Jaime and Cersei took Prince Oberyn inside of Tyrion's room when he was a baby, and they showed him and kind of introduced Prince Oberyn to what they call the freak of nature, you know, this mutant looking baby. But whenever Prince Oberyn got one look at Tyrion as a baby, he said, "That's not a monster, that's a baby." And then after that, he kind of explains how Lady Cersei said, "Well, this baby is the one that killed my mother, so I hope that he dies soon. And matter of fact, he will die soon. He'll pay for what he did to my mother. There'll be justice." And she actually pinches him, young Tyrion. She pinched him so hard inside of his let's say fruits and berries, you know, his family jewels. She pinched it so hard, man, that Prince Oberyn said from that day on, he kind of understood that Lady Cersei was out for his death, okay? And Tyrion goes on to kind of explain that, you know, that Cersei always gets what she wants, and she's wanted me dead for many, many years. And then Prince Oberyn explains that all he wants is justice for his sister and for her children. And after that, he stands up, he grabs this torch, and he says, "I will be your champion." So now Prince Oberyn is going to fight for Tyrion, and he's going to fight Sir Gregor, which is the Hound's brother. This is crazy, man. This is what I'm talking about as far as, you know, Game of Thrones. It's so nuts. I can't say anything more than that, man. That's enough time. Let's go ahead and stop here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some more stuff.